Our next session is Enterprise Solutions Back-End Warehousing. This session is being moderated by Mr. Rahul Chaudhary. Rahul Chaudhary is the e-commerce sector leader at Helion Advisors. Okay, we already know Rahul, he was just here. And the panelists in the discussion are Vinay Elias, Piyush Madan, Ankit Pruthi, Abhishek Jha, and Seshu Kumar Thirumala. Vinay heads marketing at Bangalore-based Many Materials. Established in 1986, Many Materials Movement Private Limited is a part of the Many Group and is focused on harnessing electrical energy towards movement of materials and people. Piyush Madan is the co-founder and business head at Vinculum. He has a rich experience of consulting in multiple retail and logistics companies globally. Ankit Pruthi is the co-founder at Unicommerce. Prior to Unicommerce, Ankit worked as a manager, strategy and algorithms at ST. Abhishek Jha is from the Aditya Birla Madhura Retail. Abhishek is the head of operations for Trendin.com, e-commerce channel of Madhura Fashion and Lifestyle. He has more than 12 years of experience in e-commerce and online segment. At Trendin, he's responsible for setting up and managing the entire back-end operations. He spearheaded the complete back-end automation at Trendin.com from conceptualization to implementation. Seshu Kumar Thirumala is the business head of Rural Retail, ITC. He heads the Chopal Sagar chain of stores, which is a unique initiative of setting retail stores in small towns with two-way flow of products to and fro from the rural customers. There are 24 Chopal Sagars under operation currently. Over to our panelists. Thank you.
Hello. So thanks a lot, and given the size of the panel, we'll try to rush through the introductions fast and maybe hopefully leave it more open to questions. So what I will request is, I couldn't meet few of you, but what we discussed was that each of the panel member will maybe give a 1-minute intro on what their company do as far as backend technology for retailers are concerned. And then maybe talk about one case study for maybe 4 or 5 minutes around how backend technology has impacted e-commerce, either their own venture or e-commerce customers of theirs. And the background to this is, I think most of the e-commerce companies when they start, their big focus is around the front-end technology, and which is the right thing to do because that is what gets you revenue. But as you scale, there is a point of time in the evolution of the company when you should think about use of technology on the back end as well. So in that context, maybe we'll start from this side and just go.
Hi everyone, I'm Abhishek Jha. I'm currently heading operations for Trendin.com. Trendin.com is an e-commerce division of Madhura Fashion and Lifestyle, which is a group company of Aditya Birla Nuvo, and we are home to the brands like Louis Philippe, Van Heusen, Allen Solly, Peter England, and People. So as of now, we are selling only our brands on our website. And we will be one of the few companies where our back-end automation was done even before the website launch. One of the major reason for this, what we think is that in our earlier experiences, we witnessed that whenever any particular website is launched, initially the volumes are low. And the backend is always automated in the way of keeping a low scale of volume or maximum 200, 300 orders. And as soon as the website starts getting a lot of orders, the backend most of the time it drops down. It doesn't work properly. One of the key factors in a successful e-commerce venture will be the repeat customers or the organic growth. And to have repeat customers, it's very essential that we provide extremely good services to them where we are able to deliver to them in a very fast and efficient manner, help and resolve their queries in a timely manner. For this, again, the automation of the backend or having a complete system which doesn't only cover the inventory cycle, the logistic, the warehouse, and customer service becomes very crucial. So currently we have built up a system at Trendin.com where as of now in operations we just have one person managing everything because every other thing is completely automated right from the logistic allocation to inventory recycling to warehouse management as well as customer service itself. So in future, like whenever we have to start the dropship model or the marketplace model, we are already prepared for that. So typically, in a dropship model, like if I take example, what happens that it's several companies when they start up as a vendor to other companies, but then they are not able to cope up with the orders in time. That is I'm sorry. So it's like say number of orders which are coming to a dropship model in. Yeah, so in case of dropship model, what I was saying is like right now we are having discussion with several big brands, but the problem what happens that when they are sending us the order, and for timely delivery, it's important that all the orders are passed on to the warehouse in a timely manner. We are able to see that whether the stocks are present or not. And according to if there are different models, like where the customer address and all those things are required, then whether the invoice is able to get printed in that manner, and finally the financial reconciliation. Now, if we go with a complete non-automated system, even for 100 orders, it will require minimum 2 to 3 people to accomplish that feat. However, with the automated system, you do not require any single person, and everything can be done very smoothly. So right now at our website also, in the similar manner, we have built the complete system in that particular manner.
Thanks. Ankit, you actually run the business which automates backends, right? So would love to hear from you.
Hi all, this is Ankit. I am co-founder and CEO at Unicommerce eSolutions Private Limited. So we are into business of providing backend solutions, software solutions to e-commerce companies and merchants who are selling on multiple channels like eBay, Amazon, or other leading channels in India. So basically a client can manage procurement, inventory, end-to-end warehouse operations, drop shipment, and his orders, not only from his own website, but from other channels as well. Okay. We have built the system in such a way, we have included best practices in the industry that have impressed companies like Snapdeal and Jabong to adopt our solution for their fulfillment. We are working with several other e-commerce companies in India and in Southeast Asia on both the models, dropship and warehousing. And we are working with several merchants who are like manufacturers, distributors, traders in different verticals like apparels, furniture, handicrafts, electronics, who sell on multiple channels like eBay, Amazon, and they use our system to manage their orders and inventory at a centralized place. So this is exactly what Abhishek was talking about. When you do drop shipment, you have to keep things in mind to enable vendors to easily fulfill their orders at scale. And that is what we have done for all the channels. So basically what I'm trying to say is that anyone who's selling online and facing issues in scaling up, be it stockouts or selling or longer fulfillment time, delayed orders, anything, you can use us there. So we are a direct fit there. And speaking about case studies, I would like to highlight a couple of features which should be there in any e-commerce warehousing module at a scale. Okay, one of it is inventory serialization. You need to have a unique barcode for every product in your warehouse at scale. This is because it gives you complete traceability of the product, right from information like when was this product purchased from which vendor at which price points, and to which customer it was shipped, when was it returned, if it was returned. So you need this information basically for multiple things, for inventory aging, for defining promotions on your website, for vendor return policy reconciliations, and for multiple other things. It prevents incorrect duplicate shipments. That's why when you often see scaled companies in India or internationally, you'll find that they give unique barcode to every product. You can cross-verify this easily by ordering from leading e-commerce in India. And apart from that, again, as Abhishek has already mentioned, we have helped some of our clients who started with the warehousing model. But later moved on to the marketplace model, like just-in-time or drop shipment, because of inventory holding cost and multiple other reasons. And the issue with these marketplace models is that often it leads to issues like stockouts or longer fulfillment time, which we have solved for by providing vendors with a really engaging platform that gives them alerts. Also, they can manage their own inventory. So we have provided a virtual inventory management module to e-commerce companies through which they can actually manage their own vendors' inventory. And if vendor is also using our product, he can in fact manage his listing and inventory across multiple marketplaces. So we kind of giving a shot to live inventory across all the marketplaces. Okay.
Hi, my name is Piyush and I represent Vinculum. We are present in 8 countries in Asia, and since 7 years we are in market for providing software consulting and solutions to retail companies as well as internet retail companies. So we believe there are 2 kind of companies which are selling online. One, which have presence in traditional offline retail and they want to go online, or people who have created a brand online, they want to set up kiosks or offline stores. So our solution caters to both of these segments, and in online also I would say there are 2 segmentation we can have. One, people who want to create their brand, and second, people who want to just it's a marketplace, I would say, where your performance, vendor performance matters, whether they are delivering on time or not. I'll give you one example. I bought a product from very popular deal site, and after 10 days of continuous follow-up, I didn't get it. So I called them again and again. They said, sorry sir, it is out of stock and we'll refund you money. But you go online, they're still selling it. So it's a classic example. Why are you failing as a brand? Why are you failing as a company? Just because you're trying to overdo what you're doing today and really not paying attention to 2 critical factors. The first factor is your predictability. Are you consistent in your performance? Second factor is your vendor performance, really. So you need to manage both factors really, really well to be able to create some impact in the market. It's already a crowded market. If you have to make an impression, you have to do something niche. Don't try to be adding a lot of categories in. Don't try to be doing too much at one go. And what I would say is your systems would help there. And how would it help? It will give you a clear visibility, and very important dilemma every startup faces is when to go for a system. Now there is no clear guideline for it. Some people set it up to create big, but I would say 75 to 100 orders a day is the point where you should start looking at systems, and that's where we have seen from our customer base, people are exploring different things. So again, one more factor, I will just cover it up quickly since there is not enough time. We in India are looking at transaction systems only today. And what I mean by transaction is, when they evaluate any software, they're looking at, do you have order fulfillment? Do you have warehousing? Do you have purchasing module? Okay, fine. It looks okay. My friend is saying it's good, I'll take it. But then what? There are 2 things that can happen from there. You're successful or you're not successful. If you're not successful, don't worry about it. But if you're successful, then you're looking at another layer of systems, right? You're looking at decision-making systems. You're looking at analytics. You're looking at how to make the best out of your money. And that is what I call, you choose a platform which is futuristic. You choose a platform which will give you a shelf life of at least 4 to 5 years.
Hi, I'm Vinay from Mining Group. We are into logistics engineering solution space, which is primarily your back-end infrastructure. If you look at the e-commerce, primarily we all of us have been discussing and all of us know that it's a very, very competitive space. And in order to be profitable, you have to have the required scale, and in order to get the required scale, you need to be really, really efficient. What is plaguing most of the e-commerce industry today? What we see is a lot of money is getting lost in your cost of operations. You have a lot of returns, you have a lot of damages, you have a lot of pilferage happening, you have a lot of untraceability. So those are the issues which are pulling back a e-commerce enterprise which is trying to scale up. And the very reason for that is that most of the e-commerce players do not have the right systems in place, do not have the right infrastructure in place. So what is very, very pertinent and what is very important today is for any e-commerce player to start thinking ahead, to start having systems and to have the right infrastructure in place. If you look at, we have executed a lot of fulfillment centers. Currently, we have executed the first fulfillment center for Amazon at Mumbai, and we have executed and partnered with Flipkart for all the fulfillment centers across the country, and so on and so forth. So what has been very, very clearly distinctive is the planning process, where these successful companies have a very, very clear vision, and they are very clear in their thought that they have thought about it, they have put the systems, and then it has made them easier to scale up their operations. So because ultimately it's a very, very competitive scenario at the customer end. There are hardly any, if you look at the margins are very, very wafer thin. So if you are able to control your cost of operations, if you are able to maintain them, and if you are able to operate at lower costs, possibly that is one of the elements which would lead to profitability.
I'm Seshu Kumar. I head the rural retail business of ITC, wherein we run hypermarkets in rural areas of MP, UP, and Maharashtra. Okay. During this discussion, I would also, dwell upon my experiences as a customer, as well as my experience from my earlier experience in one of the first e-commerce sites in the country, which is FabMart. Okay, my understanding of the back-end technology and management for e-commerce retailers is that e-commerce is moving through phases which are strongly which are following the learning curve which retailers had gone through. And in this context, if we keep it in mind as to what the retailers had gone through, okay, maybe there are some lessons we can take from there, and we can ensure that we don't commit the same mistakes, and we'll plan our back end better. Okay, so with respect to this, if we are saying that let us understand what the lessons from which retailers have gone through or going through, I think one of the most important things in back-end operations is more than the fulfillment. I think it is the inventory management. At this point of time, since most of them are looking at drop shipment and just-in-time inventory, I think this part of back-end management, okay, and back-end systems is not really being given that importance it deserves. Okay, so when I'm referring to inventory management, okay, there are few things which one needs to keep in mind. One is how do we ensure that the service level, okay, is 100%, okay, of what you are keeping on the store. See, unlike a retailer, okay, where a customer is coming to your store, what he sees is what he gets. Okay, so he sees a product, he picks up the product and he buys that product. Whereas when you are coming to a website or an e-commerce retailer, okay, you will find that, I have seen the product, I have ordered for that product, but I may not get that product. Okay, so this is the common experience which even Piyush had been referring to. Okay, and why does this happen? Okay, so the lesson from here is, one, how do I manage my front end and back end in an integrated manner so that I am always able to supply what is there in the front end. And the second is, how do I ensure that my service level in the back end is 100%? Okay, because here there is no room for error. Okay, because even a 1% error is enough to keep a significant amount of customers, are dissatisfied with your store. Okay, because I had some experiences where there is basically a grocery retailer in Hyderabad who every time we place the order, somebody will call back and say that this particular product of your order is not there. Can I suggest you something else? Okay, this is a common practice, but after 2 or 3 orders, then the customer will stop placing orders to that retailer. Okay, then the second part is that the customer will, the retailer calls you up and says, this product is not there, so can I return your this thing, and I'll inform you when the product comes. Either of the places, the customer is equally dissatisfied. And in these early days when customer is actually trying, using an e-commerce retailer, this can actually leave an experience where, due to which the customer may not come back for some time to go. Okay, so one is how do you maintain 100% service level of whatever you are keeping on the store. The second one is, how do you replenish them? When I say replenish them, in a retail store, when one product is sold, you will get another product. But here, for example, you may not have the same product available with you. So you may have to replenish it with a similar product in maybe a similar price point. Okay, so have to be such that there is a continuum which is there between the complete list of products which are there. Then the third thing is, the retailers also have to see now as to how do they manage their vendors and their service levels. So the on-time, in-full service level which we talk in retail stores, okay, that the vendor has to manage, and what is the on-time, in-full rate of different vendors, what is the OTIF rate of different vendors. The same thing we will have to start measuring it here, so that we ensure that the vendors actually improve their service levels. And what is it that we need to do as e-commerce retailers to ensure that irrespective of the OTIF rate of the vendor, I am able to manage a 100% service level. So this is the important learning which we need to keep. And if we don't learn these lessons now, okay, then I think when customer actually starts demanding, and when customer starts finding a comparison, because today I think when we look at many of the e-commerce sites, you will not find too much of difference in terms of fulfillment between at least the top bracket of them. But when people start differentiating in it, then the customer will easily leave some retailers and will only actually start shopping from those retailers who are able to provide a 100% service level. Okay, so this one needs to keep in mind. And when the e-commerce retailers first started in India, most of it was about information management. Okay, how do I ensure that the right products are shown, and what is the information I am going to provide about these products? So most of it was actually front end. Okay, then they started managing the order fulfillment process. I think now we need to add few more things. Okay, other than information management, order fulfillment, and warehouse management. We also need to look at how do we plan the inventory. Okay, then we need to look at how do we replenish the products in the back end. Then we need to look at how do we manage the logistics, and we need to look at how do we do the overall category management of this store. So these are the lessons which I think we can derive from an offline retailer, and ensure that the e-commerce retailers go through the same, learn from their mistakes.
Great, thanks. So what we'll do is we'll throw the floor open for questions, and if there are no questions, then I threaten to ask questions here. So this is a difficult choice. just if you can direct to a panelist, that will be very helpful, because then, you know, one person will answer, or just try to direct. Otherwise, you'll have 5 people answering your question.
Well, I prefer it that way, but anyways. Yeah, so I'm Shyam from Days Info. My question would be, you know, considering the fact that most of the e-commerce sites and most of the, vendors, most of the e-commerce sites look at vendors who are cost effective to them. And most of these vendors come from, you know, smaller companies which are disorganized, which are not so this one, or they come from rural outfits. Let's say, for instance, we're talking about clothing, etc. There'll be a lot of people in Tirupur who have Erode, who have things, who might not understand technology as a point to garner. What are the things that the e-commerce companies, you know, either of you or anybody else should do so it becomes much easy for them to adapt to it? Number one. Number two, are not English, because most of it is in English that we work on. How do you, how do you solve that puzzle?
So I would maybe ask Piyush and Ankit to respond to this.
My experience, I would say, I was in Philippines last week, and they have, I think, one level down in terms of infrastructure that we have in internet space. Not the road infrastructure, but on the internet space. Similar problems there. I could correlate what they were saying, but I would say use of, say, Android devices. That can be one way. Vendor portal that we have talked about, even Ankit has also talked about. And that's, if you have a vendor who is supplying you X amount of material, they would have an access to that portal. If you're saying technology can be use of, say, any tablet. That amount of investment you'll have to make. At the time of registering in vendor, you could give them this maybe 8 to 9,000 rupees. Even take a security from there, give them a tablet, and I tell them this is what you will get every day. Every day, say 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock, you'll have to see your orders and accept it. So this could be one way to have the better communication. Otherwise, you will also always have to keep a mediator between them and internet commerce companies, and this would be a costly affair, and this would be a non-productive affair as well. So technology can help as long as there is a will there.
Just to add to that, because most e-commerce companies look at the most affordable option available. It might not be possible that it's the same guy every time. I mean, this is the challenge that I was actually...
See, that depends on the DNA of the company, I would say. I've seen customers where they focus on the value products only. They are happy with the lower margins, and believe me, 3 years ago situation was different. Today's situation is different. You have larger customer base being created. I'll give you an example. My 6-year-old daughter, she bought shoes online last week. How? I gave her 3 sites, opened it on the laptop and told her, you pick whatever you like, you just add to the wish list, I will do the rest. She did it. You could argue 3 years ago she was only 3, but my whole point is that it was a number game before that. I mean, people were trying to get as many as customer. I've seen a lot of retailers selling their stuff below their costs just to get more customer add in. But today, people are happy to do lesser volumes and be profitable. They are paying more attention to the stuff which they want. It's not necessarily just the cheaper stuff. It depends on the DNA of the company, I would say. And if you are just looking at the cost factor, then obviously you'll have to compromise on the issues that you're saying.
You know what, Ankit, what I would, to extension of your question, I was just thinking when you were speaking, and I visited vendors in, distributors in, let's say, Jaipur, Kota, Indore, Bhopal, which are typically tier 2 towns. And they have, they supply to 5 marketplaces at the same time. So would love to hear, what is your experience been as far as adoption of technology for those vendors are concerned.
So I would slightly disagree to your statement that e-commerce companies look for cost-effective vendors. I think there are broadly there are two type of companies there. One is open marketplace where anyone can list their products and sell. And then there are closed market spaces which have their brand name associated with fulfillment. Okay, I know quite a few companies, and they actually don't look for only look for cost effective. It's a function of which category you are operating in, and some of the companies only look for technology backed vendors. Okay, if a vendor is technology backed, that is a plus for them. Okay, and in fact also in categories like apparels and handicrafts, or not in handicrafts, maybe in apparels, lifestyle, footwear, you have to do a complete cataloging, photography, and primarily the vendors who come up initially or till date who have come up and listed their products on e-commerce companies are pretty much technology savvy vendors, and most of them are fairly educated, and they adopt technology provided by e-commerce company or otherwise also from solution providers like ours.
My name is Bharat Geda. I'm with Intentry, which is in conversion optimization. Mr. Jha, my question is to you. Offline retailers like Aditya Birla, you have a number of stores spread across the country, right? So has anybody tried fulfillment at the shop, pick up from store? You know, it's pretty common in other countries now, in the US right now. And why is it not happening? And nobody talked about it in the fulfillment as well. Right? From a customer's point of view, it's a pretty obvious thing. I can look at the product online and then just pick it up from the nearest store. Why is that not happening?
So you are talking about the fulfillment from the local stores?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here say there are different challenges as a part of Aditya Birla Group. What I will say that first is that we have centralized warehousing where our retail customers also they place the order and then they book the order. So one of the challenges that if we are taking the inventory for e-commerce, we have to ensure that whatever we are showing on the website, that's available for the customer to purchase. Like what he mentioned, that sometimes it happens that you show the inventory as being available, but actually when the customer places the order, it's actually out of stock. So one of the challenges is that, however, we are still working on a model which will take some time to develop, where we are trying to integrate all our retail stores so that when a customer buys something, in the case based in Delhi, in that particular case, the shipment is delivered to him from the Delhi store. This will help in two manners. One is that the shipment delivery will happen very faster. That means if he has placed in the morning, by evening it can be delivered. Secondly, it will help us in taking out the inventory or burning out the inventory from the retail stores as well. So something which is not the top selling, but even in case online customers are liking it. So it will help us not only in the online, but in the offline sector as well. That's in the pipeline, but due to technology challenges, it may take some time.
Yeah, so why is this not getting priority? Because if you remember in the keynote this morning, Mr. Banerjee was speaking about the rates of web roaming being 81% compared to 40% for showrooming. So this is a huge opportunity, but nobody seems to be interested to address it. I'm surprised.
I can try to answer that. Just to let you know, we have done entire supply chain for Mudra Garments from software point of view, not the operations point of view. I can relate to what you're saying. Let me just rephrase what you're saying. It's shop online and pick up from store, right? And it's pretty common in Europe, and it's pretty common in US. And I've done it in London for a large retailer there. So it's not common here. Why? Because of technology integration. You have to have real-time integration that is happening. You know, most of the places what is happening, your point of sale is in the stores. You can't adopt online point of sale technology because you're not consistent on the internet connection, right? So you will only sync your inventory to your head office system once a day, that is overnight. And you will have that inventory visibility online. So even if your customer is saying, okay, I want to shop online, collect it from store, they don't have real-time visibility, whether you have the stock or not. So it's a technology problem, nothing else. The model is there, but 1 year down the line, will it be there? Yes, it should be there. One of our customers is trying it. I can't just name that, but one of our customers is trying it.
One model which I have seen, I don't know how far it will scale, is the other one, which is order online and pick up from offline. So there is a company which is trying to do that as well. Any more questions?
All right, sorry. I guess I'm the only guy asking questions here. Okay, so this is the case. Just recently, I studied a report which said only 7% of the people who are online in India are actually doing transactions online. And most people do not do the transactions online because the payment methods or methodologies that are there, yeah, they're pretty afraid that this will expose their financial, security. So that being the case, what are the other kind of payment options at this point in time available? I know there are cash cards that are available. I know, go onto a store and, probably, what do you call it, have wallets, etc. That's there online. But what, like as a, let's say, as an offline retailer to an online e-commerce site, what are the things that you think can be actually duplicated or can actually be used? What are the different payment methods that can be used to increase this 7% to a higher adoption? Because that's what is the problem most people face. Most of the people who have been surveyed say the problem is I'll have to share my credit card information, or I'll have to attach my bank account number, which I don't know whether it's a secure this one. So what are the other payment methods that is being used at this point in time and planned?
Yes, so as you are already aware that cash on delivery is right now working, but apart from that, there are some logistic partners who are trying up this method. It has not been successful so far. So they have done in few cities, where they take the card reader to the place of the customer where he can swipe just like a POS. However, so far it has not been very successful. It's very limited as of now. Apart from that, I know a couple of companies who have been again trying, but those are more on the lines of cash on delivery only, nothing more than that.
But as far as we understand, cash on delivery is a little overburdening on an e-commerce,
That's right. It's quite expensive, especially due to the returns, especially in certain categories, the returns are quite high. So obviously it takes the cost very high. So it's not a very viable option, but still all the players are forced to do it as it increases the reach to mass segment.
I would also add that I think there's a myth that people don't have this fear. If there are 15 million people buying railway tickets online, then why is only 7 million shopping online? And Make My Trip gets 15 to 20 million hits a month. So there are people who are interested. There are people who buy. It's just a question of what value they see by buying online. So if they see enough value, they will buy. So maybe online retailers are not providing enough value, in terms of differentiated products, speed of delivery, experience, ease of buying, range. It could be a lot of things. So we are out of time. Sorry.
Which are available. Very similar to what Abhishek said, the most innovative payment option which is happening is called mobile point of sale. So mobile phones are now becoming point of sale terminals. Okay, there are a number of people in India who have started trialing them. So the vendor who's delivering at the residence carries a mobile phone which has a card swipe. Okay, so that's how the cash on delivery can get replaced when you're using a card. So it becomes a card present transaction and it becomes secure and you don't have to necessarily pay online.
Great, thanks.
Thank you, Vinay, Piyush, Ankit, Abhishek, and Seshu. That was a really wonderful discussion. We learned a lot.